Automation has been revolutionizing the world of work for a long time. Ever more intelligent machines are making life easier. And smart robots are set to conquer our everyday life at home too. But how do they work? What jobs can they perform well and which do they fail at? And how do you build your own robot? The eXperiBot is a robot composed of modules for teaching. It can be very easily and quickly plugged together. The key component is the red power brain with a microprocessor, a memory module, and a powerful battery. Motion and sensor modules can be positioned around the power brain with complete freedom. The eXperiBot teaching robot is a simple entry point to the world of robots.
Okay.
Students can use it to learn how coding works and which components need to be activated in order to set a robot in motion.
So, what did you think? How many motors are in there? 2? Okay, what makes you think so?
Because the robot is turning on the spot.
And they learn which sensors and algorithms are needed for it to understand and interact with its environment.
Jeder von uns hat einen Computer.
Every one of us has a computer in our pocket nowadays, our smartphone, and it's extremely important that students understand how such a device works internally. And the eXperiBot provides a simple way for you to discover that it's not a black box, but that you can use the device yourself to identify problems on your own and solve them, while at the same time getting help to do so.
Und sich dabei helfen zu lassen.
In addition to the eXperiBot, the teaching robot set includes an app for programming it and accompanying worksheets. These are developed according to the current curricula for media education and IT. Always by your side, the cartoon figure programmer Ariana. She explains in a clear and structured way how the eXperiBot works and also assigns exercises.
Die Arbeitsblätter sind so gestaltet.
The worksheets are designed in such a way that they pick up on problems from the real world of the students' lives. This means, for example, electronic pets or robots that have to find their way around the house, such as vacuum cleaner robots. And the exercises set out in the worksheets reduce this complexity of the real problems to a minimum so that the students are still able to get a handle on them.
Sodass sie für die Schüler aber trotzdem anknüpfungsfähig sind.
Unsere Aufgabe wird es jetzt sein.
Our task now will be to program the robot so that it first drives up to the bookshelves here, then turns through 90 degrees, and then drives until it reaches the red line, and then stops there.
Und dort dann stehen bleibt.
Also wir könnten vielleicht...
So we could perhaps tell the infrared sensor with the distance measurement that if it's 2 centimeters or less than 2 centimeters away from these books, that it will give a command, and that the robot should then turn through 90 degrees.
From the assignment to the solution, coding is a creative process. The eXperiBot helps the students to identify good and not so good approaches, and to work on a solution, together and in a structured manner.
Die Erfahrung, einen Roboter zu
The experience of programming a robot has something quite different from programming a computer system because the robot needs to react to environmental influences and never drives straight ahead with 100% precision or detects an obstacle, and the program must be set up accordingly. That something can also go wrong from time to time. However, the robot must still be able to continue solving the problem.
Is it broken? No, fortunately not. Lucky for that. Let's see what's wrong.
So something in the code needs to be adjusted here.
So the block has to go there.
The changes can be made easily with a Blocky programming interface. Ready-made blocks of program code can be connected in the requested sequence by drag and drop.
Blocky unterstützt die
Blocky supports the 4 basic structures of imperative programming: branches, loops, commands, and variables. And because the graphical programming interface removes the need to learn vocabulary, it's also an easy way for weaker students in particular to get into programming.
Eine einfache Möglichkeit, in die Programmierung einzusteigen.
Let's start then.
Blocky runs on all standard platforms and is connected to the eXperiBot via Bluetooth. The students thus receive direct feedback as to whether or not their program works.
In der Entwicklung von Programmen ist
When developing programs, it's important to have a short test and change cycle so that the students can adjust their programs quickly in the event of errors and try out the change immediately. That way, the development process keeps flowing.
die Entwicklung im Fluss bleibt.
Anyone who would like to have an even closer look at their program is given access to the MicroPython source code, which is concealed behind the individual blocks. Nevertheless, Blocky's graphical interface is sufficient for the complete functionality of the eXperiBot. This not only permits motor control, but also provides access to the black multi-sensor. This can be attached at different points, depending on the task to be completed. The multi-sensor is used to detect light and color. This allows the eXperiBot to identify markings. However, gestures can also be detected. One possible scenario would be to program an electronic pet that responds to people. Distances are measured in this case too. The multi-sensor makes it possible for the teaching robot to react to environmental influences from the real world.
Der eXperiBot
In its basic configuration, the eXperiBot operates in an environment where it has a smooth surface for driving. They can arrange everything else themselves. The students can set up obstacles, they can use tape to trace out driving paths that it can orient itself by, or they can think up things for themselves.
The range of functions can be extended using optional components.
That needs to go on. Then the next one.
This allows the eXperiBot to grip and rotate objects and to be quickly adapted to a wide variety of tasks.
Start now. Place it on the sheet correctly. Yes, like that. Now it's drawing.
The eXperiBot fosters creativity in solving problems and is fun to use.
Je nach Klassen- und Unterrichtsstruktur
Depending on the classes and the structure of the teaching, 2 to 3 students can work with one device. This allows the option of entrusting one of them with the programming, the second with the construction and modification of the eXperiBot, and the third with the documentation.
den oder die dritte mit der Dokumentation,
Which of course also means that the roles can be exchanged with one another.
untereinander getauscht werden können.
Further exciting scenarios are afforded by teaching materials, such as Smart Factory, City of the Future, and In the Maze of Possibilities.
As you can see, the robot orients itself to the line with its sensor. In addition, it has a color sensor with which it can detect the differently colored points here on the game board.
The Maze of Possibilities consists of game boards and worksheets that are coordinated with one another. In addition to technical understanding, the exercises to be solved also foster a variety of social skills between the students in the class.
The experiences that students can gain in this lesson include not only the programming, but also the presentation of their solutions to other students.
Schülerinnen und Schülern.
How does real teamwork look? How do you structure work processes? And how do you solve any problems that arise as a team?
In my experience, the students respond very positively to the eXperiBot, firstly because the emphasis is primarily on the hands-on aspects, the assembly. And then comes the initial testing. And when you have formulated your first program and the eXperiBot does exactly what you have previously input, then they absolutely love it.
Dann ist die Freude groß.
The eXperiBot teaching robot set provides a stepping stone into the world of robots.